Hello and welcome. Have you ever felt like the more you chase after something, the more it seems to slip through your fingers? Well, today we're going to dive into this really wild, kind of counterintuitive idea from our source material. What if the secret to actually getting what you want is to give things away?
Think about it. We're always taught to go after our goals, right? To work hard, to acquire what we need. But what if that whole approach is backwards? This one question is really the heart of everything we're talking about today. What if the real key to receiving was actually giving?
So, before we get too deep, let's just make sure we're on the same page. The word give, it's simple, right? It's an action. You're putting something you have into someone else's hands for them to use. A pretty basic idea, but believe me, it has some seriously profound consequences.
And look, this idea isn't new at all. It's an ancient principle, and it's captured perfectly in this verse. And notice, it doesn't just say you'll get back what you gave. No, it promises this overflowing return, pressed down, shaken together, running over. It's not about a one-for-one trade. It's about opening up a floodgate.
Okay, but let's be real. It's one thing to give when you've got plenty, right? When you have a surplus. But what happens when you don't? What if you're being asked to give not from what's left over, but from the very thing you need yourself? Well, that is where this whole idea gets really interesting. So the source material points to this incredible story where Jesus is watching people give their offerings. And the gift that completely stopped him in his tracks wasn't from the rich people giving huge amounts. No, it was from a poor widow who put in 2 tiny, almost worthless coins. Why? Because it was everything she had. And this just highlights such a powerful difference, doesn't it? Giving from your abundance, it's kind of like giving away your leftovers. It doesn't really cost you much. But giving from a place of want, giving something that you also desperately need, now that is a true act of faith. And that's exactly what got Jesus' attention. And this isn't just theory. The author of our source material shares this mind-blowing personal story. She was literally about to be kicked out of school because she couldn't pay her tuition. And inspired by that widow's story, she did something that sounds completely crazy. She gave away 1/10 of the money she needed so badly. And she says, a year later, not only had she graduated, but she'd gotten a promotion and a raise at work. Let's take a look at how a simple act of giving at a well put a woman named Rebecca in the perfect position to receive a promise that would, and I mean this literally, change the course of history.
So, picture this. Abraham's most trusted servant is sent on this hugely important mission. He has to travel all the way back to his master's homeland to find a wife for Isaac, the son that a huge promise rests on. The stakes could not be higher.
Now this servant, he doesn't just show up and hope for the best. No way. When he gets to a well, which was kind of like the community center back then, he prays for a very, very specific sign. He asks for a particular act of generosity that will show him who the right person is.
And right on cue, a young woman named Rebecca shows up. She's just doing her thing, her normal, everyday chore of getting water for the family. She has absolutely no idea that her very ordinary routine is about to collide with an absolutely extraordinary destiny.
So the servant goes up to her and makes a really simple request. He doesn't ask for much, just, hey, can I have a little water from your jar? It's a small thing, but it's a perfect test of her character. And this is where the story just explodes. Rebecca's response is, honestly, radical. She doesn't just give him a drink. She says, I'll draw water for all of your camels too. Now, he had 10 camels. After a long journey, they would have been incredibly thirsty. This wasn't a small favor. This was a huge, physically demanding job. She went so far beyond what was asked. And bam! That was it. That incredible, over-the-top act of generosity was the precise signal the servant had been praying for. It was instant confirmation. Her character, which was revealed in that one moment of giving, proved without a doubt that she was the one. And because of what she did, because of that one act of giving at the well, as she's leaving to start this new life, her family speaks this absolutely massive blessing over her. Her giving unlocked a promise of a legacy so big it's hard to even wrap your head around. Okay, so that's a great story. But what's in it for us? What can we actually take away from what Rebecca did at that well and apply to our own lives, like right now? It's a simple framework. Be in the right place, do the right thing, and then be willing to go.
First, being in the right place. And listen, this doesn't mean you need to pack your bags and move. Your well, as the source calls it, is probably your job, your family, your community. It's right where you are now. It's about being faithful and present, and doing the right thing
That's just choosing to serve and be generous in that everyday space, exactly like Rebecca did.
And that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, her willingness to go. After she showed her character through that incredible act of giving, she was presented with this life-changing opportunity to leave everything she knew. And her courage to say yes to that unknown future was the final step that activated the whole promise.
All right, so we've got the theory, we've got the story. Now what? How do we actually take these lessons from the well and put them into action in our own lives starting today? The source lays out 3, let's call them challenges to get you started. First, find one chance to give in a totally surprising, over-the-top way, your own version of watering the camels. Second, make a list of those situations in your life that feel uncomfortable, that maybe hold you back, as your promise might be hiding right there. And finally, be intentional about praying over these things, at least twice a day. So, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this one question to chew on. It's probably not literal water for camels, but what is the water that you're being asked to give today? It might be your time, your attention, a kind word. Whatever it is, think about it, because your greatest promise could be waiting on the other side of that one simple act of giving. Thanks for joining us.